It's truly encouraging to hear from someone, because of you, I did not give up. Our guest in today's segment of Inspiration is also someone whose story will inspire many to live the best version of them. I love interacting with such people for whom success isn't just about accomplishments, it's about how they impacted lives. You never know how strong you are until being strong is the only choice you have. Shilpa Bhasin Mehra, founder of her law firm Legal Connect, author of her book All Battles Aren't Legal. Shilpa's life seems like a smooth sailing ride to any outsider. Coming from an affluent family from Delhi, being the youngest sibling among 4 sisters, Shilpa had a happy childhood. An enthusiastic, bright girl, topper in school and university, Shilpa decided to follow her dad's footsteps into the legal profession. She had a flourishing legal career and after marriage decided to pursue her love for law in Dubai. 10 years in the business, 2 wonderful kids and a supportive family. Shilpa's life was picture perfect until one afternoon when all her dreams came crashing down. As you said, life was beautiful. Everything that you dreamt of came true till that particular day. And what happened that day?
What happened that day, it was the 27th of March, 2003. Okay, I was struck with a very, very bad headache. I mean, I thought my head is going to burst. And I was having the Panadol, the typical thing. And within like one day, my body was just, I had no strength. I just could not get up from the bed. And within hours, I slipped into a coma. So that happened. I was in Rashid Hospital. I was in coma for 40 days. And I believe, because this is all hearsay, because I don't know, I was declared dead twice also because I stopped breathing and they had to use that defibrillator to, get me back. And it was a terrible time for my family. I feel really bad for them. But I have no inkling about it, nothing at all.
Absolutely zero memory of those 40 days.
Zero memory. In fact, Uma, sometimes I'm jealous of people who have very interesting stories to tell. We saw angels and we saw the white light and we saw this. I saw nothing. A complete blackout.
What do you remember then when you came out of it? What's your first memory of?
My first memory was like something is seriously wrong over here.
You could see your family members?
I could see my family who don't live over here. So they were standing there.
So your parents, your sisters, everyone was there?
Everybody, my husband was standing there. So I'm looking at everything and I know something is very wrong. And then I realized that, I can move my hands, my fingers, but nothing waist down is moving.
So you could figure out the moment you came out
within
of your
5 minutes. Because I tried to turn a little bit, I couldn't. Then I tried to twitch my toe, I couldn't, because nobody was telling me anything, so I was trying to figure out myself. After that, actually, I think that my personal examination started, which was my journey of learning to cope with what has happened. First, to learn really what had happened, and then actually the long rehab which started. That was the real trying time. Because what happens in neuro cases, I'm a neuro case, it was a viral meningitis that struck me, in which the brain gets affected. Neuro cases are very slow to heal. So patience is really the key, and your willpower, and you don't give up. Because if you give up, nothing happens.
So how did you start the whole process of rehab and what all did you go through after that? I think for 2 years you were going
Yes, I was on a bed, paralyzed for 2.5 years, waist down paralyzed. My doctor, he was a dream. He was so positive. I think all doctors can learn something from him, besides the doctor part. His nature was
With a good
fantastic.
doctor, half your battle is won.
I think so. And, Uma, not taking any credit away, but what he did for me was not pure doctory stuff. It was his positive aura, his constant encouragement, when he would enter the room, you'll be fine. And that is so important for a patient.
At that point in time when you're struggling and battling so many things.
I mean, I think wherever I am today, it's because of all the love and support. I mean, people call me an inspiration. I think with the army of people, anybody would, be a rock star.
But they saw the strength in you also, and that's why they stood by you like
I think, Uma, it's a vicious cycle. You take strength from them, they take strength from you, and I think everybody is just moving on. And I think that is the best thing to do, is to
one
move
day
on
at
in
a
life.
time.
Yeah, I mean, what has happened, but you have to think about tomorrow. And life is beautiful. How can you give up?
So when did you come back to Dubai, and when did you get back to work?
I got back, we all flew back September 2005. So it was a long 2.5-year rehab. And I think getting back to Dubai was a big turning point in my life. I mean, I have had quite a few turning points, but that was a very important one, because that was the time I think I wanted to gain control of my life. Right. For so far, I was being, spoon-fed. So you're being mollycoddled, and that all is great. There is a time and place for that. And then there's a time to say, you know what, let me try and do this on my own. And until you don't jump into the water, you don't know whether you can swim. I started with my walker to go to the kitchen, to open the fridge, to have food on the dining table and not on a hospital
All
trolley.
those things that we take for granted.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I just keep, when I'm looking at people and they're cribbing about small things, I want to say, you have no idea how blessed you are. So it was great, and I started doing very small assignments from the house. I had my old clients who were very happy that I'm back, and it started off very randomly. And then in 2010, the same company that I was working for till the day I slipped into a coma, they had a requirement for an in-house legal advisor, and they approached me. So I was very happy to go back, because it was very familiar terrain. So it was a very interesting journey of doing random assignments from the house to a full-time job once again. And I took a sabbatical in 2014 to figure out what I should be doing then. And last year in January, I opened my own company.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's called Legal Connect. And of course, it's still in the legal profession, because that's the only thing I know. And it's been very good since then.
All battles aren't legal.
Exactly.
How did this come about?
This came about, sometimes I think ignorance is bliss. I was very bored in the hospital, because although I was waist down paralyzed, but otherwise I was totally switched on, and my hands were fine. And I've always been a very laptop person, and I've been addicted to it. So what my dad one day walks in with his laptop and puts it on the hospital trolley, and he says, you must be getting bored. So why don't you spend some time on the laptop? So I was like, who has the strength to open it? And I don't know whether I can type, and I had all these apprehensions in my mind. And then I opened it, and then I started to read mails, and people were sending encouraging stories. There were some jokes. And then one day my doctor came and told me that, Shilpa, if you write your story, it'll be very encouraging. Because when we in our white coat tell patients something, they always turn around and say, Doc, you don't understand, because you haven't been through that. And then my family totally encouraged me. They said, you've written all your life, although of course you've written contracts, but you can write. And then I just thought, okay, I'll start penning down my thoughts. It was more like a personal diary. It was never an intent to write a book, because I'm not an author. I don't know ABC of writing, actually. Sometimes you have a great sense of gratitude. Sometimes you're a little irritated with people. Sometimes you want to enhance on certain things which will help the people, like, get a sense of humor, or have an attitude, or how to deal with people. So it just became like from 10 pages to 20 to 100 pages. And it was a personal diary that got published. And it was a great healing process, because I was venting out so much.
Exactly. That's what I was coming to. When you start expressing yourself and your real deep emotions, it's a very, very healing process.
I think so. I think it really helped me, because, you want to say so much, but you don't know who to say it to. Then you don't know how the other person might perceive it. So best is, I feel, to pen it down.
Yeah, because you don't know who's going to read. And so when you're penning it down, it's really you talking to yourself.
You know, when you want to just go with the flow and be free, and I had no one to impress.
And it's very liberating to do so.
Very liberating to do that. No one judging you. You just write what you have to, and if anybody can, you know, get any benefit out of it, it's a good deed. I'm happy with that.
And I guess your father was really instrumental in publishing it.
Yes,
he was very encouraging.
Absolutely. Actually, you know what happened is, why he was so instrumental, he's instrumental in my life, basically. But I sent it to his office because although I had a laptop, I didn't have a printer. So I sent it to his office to get a printout. And that happened to go with him in his mail on a Delhi to Bombay flight.
Okay.
He read it so fast. And he said, I think we should publish it. And I thought, no, we can't publish it. I mean, you know, this is just for like you people. We cannot publish it. He said, no. I think, you know, it will benefit people. You know, it's very inspiring. You must. So then also I said, nobody will publish it. He's just saying it. Then this very nice publisher, Mr. Manish Arora, you know, they publish legal books actually, like Constitution of India and all these kind of books. So he came to meet me and he tells me, I want to publish your book. I really like it, but you have to help me with the legal title. So, you know, I was a little irritated. I didn't show it because I was thinking in my mind, I died. Okay, and what is legal in this? I don't know.
Yeah.
So I just told him, I said, you know, this is my personal battle and all battles aren't legal. And he says, can we keep that? And I was like, are you serious? Kind of a thing. And I just said, if you want, you know. And
that's how the title came.
That's how the title came, because a lot of people asked me, they found the title very intriguing.
Very interesting, yes.
So this is how did it come? And normally they say, you know, things that you say in anger or irritation are not the most sensible. But this was something I said.
You would disagree with that.
Well, this is one of the very fluke cases where I was irritated and it worked.
So what are the things that you have learned from your own journey and you pass on to your kids?
Well, you know, what I've learned is that, first of all, life is beautiful. Be grateful for what you have. Don't crib. Stop whining over small things.
Like weather, traffic.
Oh, pollution and, you know, all these things. Of course, I mean, you know, they can be very harassing. So I don't blame the people who are always complaining. But I think when you look at the larger picture, there is still so much to be grateful for. You know, all the things that we learned in school. You know, count your blessings. Honestly, if you count your blessings, you will stop cribbing.
True.
You know, there's one example I give to my kids. I said, God has made our face in such a way, either we can smile or we can frown. You can't do both at the same time.
Right.
I said, so either you can be grateful or you can crib. So if you have to choose between the two, why don't you try being grateful? It works wonders.
So now you've started your own business and obviously you have plans and you have ambitions for it. Where do you see yourself a few years down the line?
I read in the papers that by 2020 they plan to make Dubai the most disabled-friendly city in the world.
Absolutely, yes.
So those are also some of the projects which I would want to get involved in. I have not started, but that's there in my mind. And who knows, maybe write another book.
That's fantastic. Can't wait for your next book. This is inspiring. That's going to be super inspiring.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for coming on this show and sharing your story. It inspired me absolutely to the deepest level. And I know it will inspire my viewers. Thank you.
I'm so glad that you called me over, Uma. It's been such a delight talking to you.
Such a pleasure.